When's the last time you took a real break from your studio without worrying about phones buzzing and student questions or parent emails? As studio owners, we're notorious for putting our businesses ahead of everything else, including ourselves. On this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, Mandy and I are getting real about something we all struggle with, actually taking time off. We're sharing our best strategies for stepping away from our studio without the whole thing falling apart. Because here's what we've learned. Sometimes planning a vacation feels harder than just showing up to teach, but it doesn't have to be that way. Stay tuned. Welcome to Rock School Proprietor Podcast. My name is John Kazicki.
And I'm Mandy York.
And we are talking about taking time off today.
Much needed time off, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know as a business owner, as a studio owner, small business owner, we tend to prioritize running our businesses. And a lot of times that means we put some of our needs maybe to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think things like taking time off, taking a vacation, we're in the summer.
Yeah.
Right? So chances of us taking a little time off, hopefully high.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And you and I are both with our families about to take, I'm about to take a week off. You're about to take a week off. So we thought, well, let's talk about how to take time off from our lesson businesses, because we tend to not prioritize that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, do you generally, do you prioritize, Mandy, or have you found okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you ever decided not to take time off because you've thought about the amount of things that you'd have to do ahead of time just so that you could take the time off, and you realized, man, that's there's way more to do just for me to take a day off, and then you're just like, forget it. I'm not going to do it. Have you ever done that?
Not exactly. I haven't done that, but I'm really good. You have?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have definitely worked time off around whatever's going on at the studio, though. That I do all the time. Definitely.
Yeah, and you've planned your entire 3 months semester? Is it 3 months?
10 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know for you sit down ahead of time, at least 10 weeks in advance. So a month and 2.5 months. So right?
Yes. Yep.
So you're accommodating for that.
Mm-hmm. But
okay.
When things pop up, I'm much less likely to cancel a class or call in a substitute than to just work around whatever my work schedule is. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a recipe for burnout.
It can be.
We both talked about that. If that's kind of your mode of operation. I'm also thinking about the private lesson instructors. If say, I mean, I've mentioned that I don't really teach private lessons anymore, but if you are the studio owner and you're spending a lot of time teaching private lessons, well, that's also lost income that you're thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
How do I reschedule all these private lesson students so that I can take time off? And what if they can't reschedule? And the path of least resistance is, well, maybe I'll just give them a credit for that. Or maybe the parents will request, well, we can't work out this schedule thing. Can we just have a credit? And then on top of wanting to just take some time off, you're also losing income.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was this morning thinking about all the things that I'm doing this week to prepare for a week off. And there's actually a lot. But I also realized that in sort of thinking back to an earlier version of myself and a little bit of myself right now in this planning stage, what I'm kind of doing is managing my anxiety. I'm managing my worries.
Yeah. Yes. That is a great way of putting it. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's what if, right? What if this happens while I'm gone? What if this happens while I'm gone? And those are all like really, that's coming from like my fears, right? My inner fears. Do you feel the same? Do you feel like it's anxiety, or what do you think it is going into a vacation?
Yeah, I do feel the same. It's anxiety. It's the what if this and what if that happens, or what if so-and-so forgets this, or all of because I'm ready at a moment's notice to handle any situation, but not all of my staff are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're probably like that because you just know anything that happens, you have to deal with it. You have to take care of it. So it's not even a question of like, who do I ask? It's just, okay, time to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I understand that worry, what if? So my thought is, at least for myself, if I can start to identify what my core anxieties are, then that helps me to sort of peel away the layers of the onion and find out like, well, what am I afraid of? What's my fear? And then I can address my fear. And from there, then I have like a really specific thing that I can think about and I can plan for, or I can build a system or, like a mini plan when I'm gone. Hey, if this thing happens, because sure, there's going to be other things that might even come up that I'm not even thinking about, but the things that I'm not thinking about don't cause fear or anxiety. It's literally like the what if.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I've got some specific fears in my studio that as I'm getting ready to go on vacation that I'll share. Do you have anything specific that you're willing to put out there?
Well, specifically, like in this case, I'm going to be gone for a week, right? And I have one day of classes that I teach. All right. So besides all of the administrative stuff, there's one day that I teach and I've had to call in a substitute for that day. What if the substitute gets sick or gets in a car accident? Right? Okay. Then what?
You went kind of dark.
I did
right away.
Hey, or flat tire. I mean, come on. I'm not nothing major.
Right.
I'm not getting dark, John. But but what if they can't get to the class, right? Then it's like, I've already put in my plan B, having the substitute come in. What's plan C?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's a good one. One of my fears as I'm getting ready to go on vacation, as you know, Mandy, there is a very popular restaurant in town that is right above my studio, right above my lesson studio.
Yes, I know.
And on occasion, there have been some leaks from the restaurant upstairs, whether that's like from their plumbing, or sometimes it's just as simple as like, they spilled some water on the floor and it happened to sort of work its way through and drip down. And like some of my instructors will hear like drip, 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 or a student will say, I just got wet.
Yes.
And now it doesn't happen a lot, but it's just one of those things. Like it happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. And when it does, I'm usually the one to kind of jump in and say like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's switch over to this room, or let's get a bucket, or let me call the owner upstairs and we'll figure it out. And it's usually a pretty simple fix for me. Mm-hmm. Because I've dealt with it enough times. I know it's almost like I already have a system for it. It's just not written down or like anything because it's not something that happens that often. Mm-hmm. But that's one of my fears. Mm-hmm. What if when I'm gone on vacation, the restaurant starts to leak on a student?
Yep, I hear you. Oh.
Yeah.
I have no reason to think this, but there's no restaurant in my building. There's a barber and some office space, but I've totally worried about the building catching on fire. Have you ever done that? I'll admit that's kind of dark, but gosh, what if?
Yeah. There is a restaurant right above me.
Yeah.
So,
There's always a what if.
yeah, another one of my fears. Again, doesn't happen often, but I've got one instructor who has to travel a decent distance to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Michigan, it's construction season. It causes problems with travel and commuting, and it can just sort of happen. And so one of my fears is what if that instructor is late? Normally, if I'm at the studio, it's like a simple fix, right? I know what to do to talk to the student. I know what to do to talk to the parent. I've got plans in place. If my instructor's late, I can smooth everything over. No big deal, right? But what if I'm gone? Student is sitting there in the waiting area, maybe dropped off by the parent. Instructor is late. Normally, when the instructor's late, they'll text me, right? So instructor texts me, I'm in Maine. What am I supposed to do? I'm on vacation. So, yeah, that's one of my fears.
Yes, these are real. These are valid, right? Valid fears. So what do you do about it?
Well, so glad you asked. Well, I know. So again, that's me identifying, like, here are the what ifs. Here's the what ifs that I'm thinking about. These are the things that are making me anxious. These are what I'm worried about. So I know, okay, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to real quick write down and give it to my admin, maybe provide it to all of the instructors. Hey, if the restaurant happens to leak on you while I'm gone, probably won't, but here's what you should do, right? Here are the steps you can take. Similarly, hey, instructor who has a long drive during construction season in Michigan, if you're going, if it looks like you're going to be late, don't text me. Text this person or text this other person, and I'll give them the procedure so that they can sort of jump in and do the things that I would normally do, which aren't really hard.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like they're these crazy involved steps. It's just someone has to do something.
Yep. You have to put it on someone else's radar instead of it being on you. And you don't want to get that text while you're on vacation.
I don't.
It's not a big deal. You could turn around and text somebody else like, hey, just so you know, so-and-so's running late. Will you let the student know they're probably sitting in the lobby? But you don't want to have to do that, because then you're going to worry about it too. At least I am. Be like, what's going on over there? I hope they show up. I hope everyone's okay, whatever. I'd rather come back and have them say something like, yeah, everything went great. Joey was late one day, but we took care of it and it was no big deal. Right? That's what you want to hear. You don't want to catch wind while you're on vacation and have it on your mind and worry. Because it'll be fine. Like you said, these aren't catastrophic situations. Someone else just has to be in charge of them while you're out.
Yeah. So what are you doing to prepare right now for your vacation? What are you doing to make sure that everyone is ready and knows what to do?
I document things, right? So kind of like you said, here is the landlord's number, our two neighbors within the building that we're in, kind of in this mini mall type. So here's our neighbors. They're great resources if you need help with anything.
Yeah.
Their contact information. And then I think it's important. It's great to have like a second hand, like someone that you can rely on, right? And my admin is awesome. So I trust her. And throughout the last month or so, as things come up, just knowing that I'm going on vacation, I'll say to her oh, hey, because we spend time in the office together. Oh, hey, so this is how I do this if it comes up while I'm gone. Just always feeding her that kind of information. And then she knows while I'm gone, she's kind of on call. So if anything comes up, she's got all the keys. She has always has access to the database and contact information. If that instructor is late or has a flat tire, my admin will know, and she can turn around and easily contact all the families. No one's gonna show up to an empty studio.
Yeah, which is a much bigger job for your situation than when I was talking about, well, what if my instructor is late and that instructor has a private lesson student one?
Yeah.
Yes. You've got like 10 families.
Yes.
Like waiting at the door.
Yeah. So that is why that's more of a fear, and good to have someone with keys to the kingdom that can reach out to everybody if she needs to.
Right. Now, for me, I know that, so I've got a slightly larger staff. So I also know that, hey, I've got these handful of instructors who have been with me for long enough that they just know how to jump in and sort of take care of things too, which is really great. So maybe these less experienced instructors or the newer instructors who might be having some issues or some problems, just, hey, talk to these other guys, talk to these other folks, because they're going to be able to help you out. Because you're right, we don't want to get those texts because it's going to take us out of the moment. And like you said, then we're going to worry.
Yeah.
I know for me, if I got a text like that, I would then just kind of be on edge still. That anxiety would come back.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, well, what's going on? Do I text back?
Yeah.
Do I not text back? Do I text someone else to make sure that they're stepping in and, hey, this is what's going on. Did this person talk to you? Yeah. And then my family's like, what are you doing?
Right. You just want to be able to trust that everyone's, carrying on without you and getting things done. You want to be able to trust your staff. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I know for me this week, I'm literally just kind of every day I'm sort of thinking about, okay, what am I doing today? Is there anything that's happening today that next week someone else is going to need to take care of or someone's going to be aware of? So I'm just every day I'm sort of I've got a list. I'm just taking some quick notes. And then I'll compile all of that and email it to all the appropriate people, right? My admin, I've got 2 bands that I'm coaching, so I'm going to make sure that those are taken care of. With the subs, they know what they're doing. We want to avoid surprises.
Yes. Yep. No surprises, no thanks.
Yeah. Do you do an outgoing, like, automatic email? Or anything for the phones?
I don't do anything for the phones because someone will be there to check messages.
Okay.
I will do that for my email. Thanks for the reminder. I'm bad about that.
Oh.
Yeah. I should do that when I take like a long weekend or something. It's been a while since I've taken a whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. I need to do that for next week. Will you do it?
Yeah, because I will. Yeah. And I also know I'm going to be checking email.
I know. I'm going to try not to.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be checking email just because I suck.
Yeah. It's really hard not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is, you were talking in the beginning about how hard it is to get away and how you've avoided getting away just because it took more effort to do it. And I've totally done that before. Like, oh, I'll take my computer with me, or I've said like, to my employees, like, I'm going to be out, the next 3 days or something. Well, I'm never like, I tell myself I'm out. I'm taking these next 2 days off to do this. I never do. Yeah. I always check the email. I always take the computer. I do not think I'm taking my computer this time.
Oh,
yeah.
Big step.
Yeah. I think that I am not going to.
Okay.
That's kind of a non-committal statement, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to. I'll check email with my phone.
Okay. I don't have my work email on my phone.
Oh, so that's how you set a boundary. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to take computer so I can just quick check email and leave any like database scheduling stuff to the admin while I'm gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do.
I probably should train myself to not take the laptop, but I know I'm going to.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to end up checking email, but I will put an auto reply or auto responder. I'm out of town because, again, going back to we want to avoid surprises. What I don't want to happen, and, I've got for like leads and like new inquiries, most of that stuff is I've got a lot of automations through my email software. But what we don't want is that surprise of no response for a week, and then I get back to it after a week and I say, oh, hey, sorry, I was out of town. But by the time that happens, if it's someone who doesn't know, they could already be sort of annoyed and irritated that, hey, why didn't you get back with me? It's been a week. So I think the autoresponder, while maybe a little bit annoying for the recipient, at least provides the information and says, hey, I'm going to be out of town. If you need immediate assistance, contact this person. Otherwise, I'll get back with you when I get back. So then there's no surprises. There's no like sitting there in that waiting pattern, like wondering, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's kind of twofold too, because if it's a prospective student, you don't want that to leave that bad impression, right? And then I think about, in my case too, sometimes families will email me with a question that that my admin could easily answer. So if you have that in your response, they'll shoot off an email to the admin really quick, have their question answered right away, and it's done. They're not going to get annoyed with you, and you don't have to deal with it when you get back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to avoid surprises for clients. Also, we want to avoid surprises for our staff, right? We want to give them the info that they need so that they don't feel that same anxiety. Like, we don't want to transfer our anxiety onto everyone else, right? Like, I was thinking about the email thing, right? So what if I didn't create an autoresponder and then someone was like, well, they're not replying to my email, I should call. And they're all in a huff when they call and someone from my team answers and they get the brunt end of that. That's kind of my fault.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give those surprises to staff either. So, I'm going to give like clear instructions. Hey, everyone, here's what's going on. I'm going to be out of town starting this date. I'm going to be back this date. If anything happens that's out of the ordinary, here's what you do.
Yes.
Right? You talk to this person, you text this person. If something like this happens, do this. And I don't have to anticipate everything, right? But at least if I can give them a go-to person, then they're going to feel better about not feeling lost if something comes up.
Yeah. Yep, totally. I do the same thing. I like to kind of prep or get ahead of the game, I guess, so that when I come back, maybe I'm not as buried as I could be. So I go through my calendar for next week and I do as much as I can do. So the week before a trip is so much work because we're prepping the people around us. But then like I had like an invoice and quarterly taxes due and, like some other stuff for next week. I did it all this week. I kind of got ahead so that when I come back, I just kind of have to catch up on anything that I missed while I was out, and I'm a little bit ahead. It's like I do at home. Don't we all? I mean, I clean my house and I do my laundry, so I'm not coming home to a messy house after vacation.
Yeah, and that's on top, like we both have families, right? So that's on top of, we're also preparing for leaving, going on vacation. Although in my situation, my wife is doing a lot of that preparation, so she's saving me from it. How much of this, I was thinking about, is this culturally more a, uniquely American thing, like this workaholism and
Hey, I'm under the impression that it is,
okay.
Even just talking about checking our email and taking our laptops with us on vacation.
Yeah.
That seems like an American thing to me, right?
Yeah.
We can never get away. We're always connected.
I wonder because it's standard for Americans to take like a week off, right? A year, a week.
Yeah.
That's it. And I know in other countries, that's like only a week. What?
Yeah.
Even when I went on my honeymoon, went to St. Lucia, and there were quite a few other people from England, from Ireland, and they were like, yeah, we're here for 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And I was, we're pretty young, early in our careers, didn't get a lot of vacation time. So I wonder how much, maybe we should have our international listeners like email us to verify, like, dude, is this an American thing, this workaholism? Because I know we have international listeners. So I don't want this to be totally lost on them. And they're like, what? What are you talking about?
Yes, they're better prepared than us and already have these things in place. Yeah.
Maybe so.
I mean, 2 weeks. Wouldn't you like towards the end of that 2 weeks, just kind of, I would get like really itchy. Like, oh my gosh, I have to get back.
I don't know. I've never taken 2 weeks off.
I feel like I would. Not that I want to be that way, but I don't know. And as a small business, it's all so personal, right? Like it's your baby, it's your small business.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So some of that fear, I think the fear is like, well, this is our livelihood. So we do need to protect that, and we do need to make sure everything is going to be fine. But, there's a little bit of that control freak that's taking over.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. It's a week.
Yep.
Right. I don't think anything too outrageous would happen where other people can't handle it. So, but yeah, I think the key is being prepared and just planning and addressing what your own personal fears and anxieties are. And I love that you're thinking about getting ahead.
Yeah.
Not just finishing up what you're doing this week, but getting ahead and taking care of those tasks. That's a great tip. What's worked really well for me this week is just every day keeping a running list of these are the things, right?
Yep.
Is this covered? Is this covered? Yeah.
It's important to take breaks. And you kind of mentioned in my case too, I schedule pretty far out, semester to semester. We schedule like 2 semesters at a time, really. So it's important for you to build time off into your schedules as lessons teachers, as studio owners. It's really important to build that time off. And I don't know if we talked a lot about this before, but, pricing structures, whether you're paying per lesson or paying monthly, like build these vacations into your pricing structure too, right? Maybe that's another episode, but as we're talking about vacation, think about that too. It's really important to get these breaks. It makes you a better teacher, better studio owner, better boss, and think about it big picture too, over your whole schedule and how your pricing, how your pay structure works for those vacations.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Words of encouragement. You can do it. Take the time off.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this one up. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time, Mandy.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
Bye. If you have topic suggestions or questions, please contact us at info@rockschoolproprietor.com. We'd love to hear from you and consider suggestions for the show. We've put together some free resources for teachers and studio owners over at rockschoolproprietor.com, and we've got a private Facebook group, Performance-Based Music Programs and Rock Schools. Please join us over there. On social, I'm at rock.school.proprietor on Instagram and John Kazicki on both LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify are always appreciated. If you enjoyed the show and gained insight from our conversation, then we count that as a win. All we ask in return is that you pay it forward, and please share the show with someone you think needs to hear it.